It started with Satan in the Garden of Eden. If you want to get somebody to believe a lie, you have to do it like my two big brothers did. Poison mixed in. They're mixing two things together that really do not belong together. God came from nothing. And they call that science and put it in a science journal? I think I'd call that a fairy tale and put it in the garbage. I said, Professor, what happened to your dot? He said, well, by the way, BC means before Christ. Almost all the new textbooks. Still in Texas? Yeah, nothing out there but flat rabbits. I tell you what. Looks to me like there's going to have to be a dramatic drop in population. That's exactly what the devil wants. The current rate of erosion, the continents will erode flat in 14 million years. Saxons had a genealogy going back to Adam. The Danes and Norwegians had a king list going back to Noah. Don't trust the Egyptian king list. That is greatly exaggerated. See the work by Corville on that in Evolution Cruncher. The year 2000 was 5760. We know the Hebrew calendar is messed up because the rabbi purposely took some years out to make it not match the prophecy to fit Jesus.
In Daniel 9.
Hold on. Maybe your theory's in error. Maybe you got brainwashed. It's very easy to get brainwashed. I'm going to try to brainwash the whole crowd, and then we're going to quit and go home. Well, we'll cover that seminar part 2 tomorrow.
Education. See, if you're only shown one side of an issue, you're not being educated, you're being indoctrinated. Sometimes two people can look at the very same thing and come to opposite conclusions of what they're seeing. The story is told about the farmer was out pulling a calf one time. Anybody raised on a farm here? Fuse the interpretation with the fact, and that's where you have to really watch that you don't get caught in that. And your healing process is much faster. Many major hospitals today are putting in what's called hyperbaric chambers. Process to go many times faster than normal. A lot of burn patients are put in hyperbaric chambers these days because they heal so much faster. The Bible, the people actually lived over 900 years. Time when ancient people lived many, many hundreds of years. And that certainly is biologically possible. Something changed because of that flood. Well, the creationist worldview would say the animals like birds and man are the last ones to drown. Because man could figure out a way to avoid drowning until the last possible minute, and birds, of course, flood. Doesn't necessarily have to be that birds evolve last. There are two ways to interpret that. You know, how fast that calf going when it ran into that cow. A very reasonable alternative explanation for some of the data that we see. I'm in favor of science. I love science. I got a PhD in education, which stands for post-hole digger, by the way. People began to be deficient in certain diseases. Most of the ancient skulls that you've been shown, like everybody a book to sit on your shelf. But if you really want an education, you ought to see both sides. If you like what you believe because whatever reason, well, then there is a preconceived idea that is very well. It's a preconceived idea, and if a fossil is found, it must fit into that pattern, or the time is rejected. Many of them, I don't know, but not near the population we have today. So human bones would be rare for two reasons. Number one, there weren't as many. If you have an evolutionary perspective, a worldview, you have to give all of the so-called dragon stories the interpretation of mythology. If you have a creationist worldview, that would really make sense that dinosaurs may have thousands of reports coming out of places around the world of dinosaurs that may still be living. For instance, Loch Ness is saying that there could be a few dinosaurs still left. If you watch programs like Unsolved Mysteries or Science, that's a good point. But see, what I'm concerned about, I guess, as a high school teacher, is what is in tomato. It is not really evolution in the sense that's taught in our textbooks. What's taught in the textbooks is that these examples of microevolution, they could produce a puppy, but they are now classified maybe as a new species, but it's still the same kind of animal. The word species is really where the problem arose back in the 1800s. Darwin could easily see. So you're arguing from the lack of evidence as proof for your theory? Come on, you better try that one more time. That's not going to get past me anyway. Lack of evidence proves it happened? No, no, no. That, to me, that's an indication, hey, maybe the Bible's been right all along. There's been pointed out a macro change. And because of that very thing, there are many now who are going to the punctuated equilibrium theory like therefore it must have happened rapidly. So you're arguing from anybody who was, but I assure you it is taught as a fact to our younger kids, and I strongly object to that. Yes, sir. Now to cover it 2 miles deep. The Bible says the tallest mountain was covered by 15 cubits, which is about, and the sediment automatically stratified. This layer of stratified.
I wasn't there, I didn't see it.
Sure.
Heck, I'm not looking at what's going on in Chicago right now, but you know, something's going on.
Sure.
You know?
That's where you have to keep that thought in mind. What we teach our students into. I would say the kids would come out of PCC with a better understanding of evolution than the kids coming out of Pine Forest. Of course, they're not going to believe it, but they're shown how they're shown the theories, and they're shown the fallacies of the theories. And then man was given the freedom of choice. You can choose to serve God and obey Him or not. If you choose to disobey, there are consequences. If you choose not to change oil in your car, historical evidence has neither. Yes.
People's historical backwards. That has to be zero at some point.
But see, the point it would be zero would be 20 to 30 million years ago. Or 50 million.
4,000 years old. Huh?
But when you try to say it's billions of years, it becomes very significant.
Well,
that's my point.
But that's
no, I'm trying to be consistent here. The moon is leading us. That's a fact. If you interpret that back in time, it does put a time limit.
And he actually pulled it up. Bill 666. You can't make this up. Aaron pulled it up. Bill 666. You can't.
The evolutionists assume it is by nuclear processes because of the severe problem that occurs if it is gravitational collapse. Nobody knows for sure what makes the sun burn. General evolution. So, right. Just make sure that point is in on the tape here. Okay, believing does not make it so. You can believe all you want. And for years, the uniformitarianists have been saying each player is a different season. Well, creation.
Slide off, exactly.
Sure, the creationist interpretation is it was flat land. The dinosaurs are fleeing the flood. They left their tracks behind. It took several. Not because it was falsified, but because it didn't fit their lifestyle. Thomas Huxley by Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt was an evolutionist, and he thought the Indians were an inferior species. So it's perfectly acceptable to break treaties with the Indians because they're just savages. Joseph Stalin for problems with mutations. I don't have any problems with natural selection. Natural selection works, but it does. The actual mass then made of the magnetic many smoothing out of the lines. But it is still not proof.
That's not true. I happen to
they laser bounce out of themselves, see Europe and America, the satellite fell in orbit, drift in the Atlantic was observed. But they said, well, because of that,
Code used to make it work is it's based on a 666.